Hello friends, so today's session would be more on the deep neural network life cycle, and we would be able to understand more on the this terminology which is being written it over here, right? Let's take an example. We have this data set wherein we have a two features and a one target. So the parameters or the value of these two features is being given over here, and the value, the output value is 1 and 0, right? So how to depict in a neural network and how the neural network works in this case. So since we have a two features, there would be a two input neurons, x1 and an x2. So now we would be mapping this value of an x1 and x2 into the input neurons. The hidden neurons, you can choose the hidden neuron by a hit and try. At the end of this particular session, you will come to know how to choose the number of a hidden neuron. But as of now, just for a simplicity purpose, we can choose the two hidden neuron, right? And since the output is either 1 or 0, so there would be only the one output neuron, right? Now we'll map it. This will take a one row for a reference. So this 0.1 would go into an x1, and this minus 0.5 would go into into an x2, right? Now my second and foremost step would be to initialize the weight. So there are a separate class for how to initialize the weight, different mechanism how to initialize the weight. But as of now, for a simplicity purpose, we need to initialize a random weight. So we have a random in a numpy, so we can choose the random weight. So any weight can be chosen. So from each input neuron, it we for each input neuron, if you'll see, it would be connected to the all the hidden neurons. So if there would be a 4 hidden neuron, then there would be a 4 connection from this x1, right? So now the x1 would be associated with the z1 and z2. We would be initialize the weight for x1. So the for this from x1 to z2, my 0.1 weight would be initialized, and it is random in nature. And x1 to z2, it would be initialized for 0.5. Similarly, from x2, there would be a 2 connection from z1 and a z2, and it would be initialized randomly, minus 0.5 and 0.55, right? And so the hidden neuron has a two-step. One over here, if you see this hidden neuron, once the weight has been initialized, this hidden neuron has a two-step. One is to calculate the weighted average, like x1 into w1 plus x2 into w2, and the second is to pass it to the activation function. So we'll explain it more on this. So what is the value of a z1? So z1 would be all the incoming arrows coming in into it. So x1 into 0.1, the weight of x1 to z1, and then x2 plus x2 into 0.2. Similarly, so if you see over here, this 0.5 into this 0.1 plus this value x2 minus 0.5 into minus 0.2, right? Similar, and the value of z1 comes into 0.16. Similarly, for this particular hidden neuron z2, it would be x1 into this weight plus x2 into this weight, all the incoming arrows which has been associated to the z2, right? So now we learned that this each hidden neuron is having a two functionality. One is to calculate a weighted average, like we have calculated Z1 and Z2. So this Z1 is calculated as 0.6, and then it would be passed to an activation function. So for a simplicity purpose, we'll pass this activation function as a sigmoidal function, and when we go into the subsequent session, we'll learn what are the activation function and when and how to use the activation function in for which particular applications. So this is the formula of the activation sigmoidal activation function, where the lambda is the regularization. Here we'll use the lambda as a 1 because as of now we are not going ahead with the regularization. We'll study more about this later on, right, in a subsequent classes. So now this x is this z1. So for this particular neuron, my z1 is calculated, and it has a two functionality. Pass this into the activation function. So when I'll pass this z1 into this 0.16 into this function. So value of z1, activation value of z1 would be 0.53, and for this particular neuron this would be 0.4638. So this z2 0.145 would be passed in the place of an x, and then the value of 0.4638 would come. So now this value of 0.53 and 0.46 is the value of this hidden neuron, and z2 is respectively, right? So when you again calculate the value of y, this would be an input of for y, right? So similarly for a z1 the input was x1, and for y1 the input would be z1. So if you see, the value of Z1 is 0.5399 as I show you over, and the value of Z2 is 0.4638. Now again, what we need to do it, again we need to initialize the weight, right? So we are initializing a random weight from here, and then calculate the value of Y1. So what is the functionality of any hidden neuron? First, it would calculate the weighted average, that is 0.5399 plus 0.37 plus 0.9 into 0.4638, and then pass it to the activation function. So the value of y1 after calculating a weighted average is 0.927, and then pass it to this particular activation function, and the value comes to the 0.7168. Now if you calculate, if you see, this is the value 0.7168 would be the output of y1, and what was the actual value? The actual value was 1 for this particular row, right? Now, and what is the predicted value? The predicted value is 0.7168. So now we over here we need to calculate the loss. This loss would be calculated to determine how far it is from the actual value. Okay, so if you know, this is the mean squared error. This mean squared error is yi minus y2 ka whole square summation and divided by the n. This n denotes the number of uh, rows in the particular population, right? So the actual value was 1, and the predicted value comes over here is 0.7168 calculated, and this would be the mean squared error. So this whole, to calculate the value of y1 and then calculate the loss function over here, this is called as a forward propagation, because it goes into the one direction, right? So now to minimize this mean squared error so that the value, predicted value, would be close to the actual or a target value, we need to back propagate it and see how this weight would get reduced so that my value of y1 would be closer to my actual value. Okay, so this back propagation we'll see in my next lecture, wherein I'll explain how the gradient descent would be calculated in a back propagation, and what are the certain parameters which would help to calculate the gradient descent. Okay, thank you. Hope this session would be helpful to you. Thanks a lot.